characterization in this one? Okay. I'll stop now.
Okay,
When he
I'll
first
stop
comes
now.
to Japan, he does act as a rival against the Ninningers, as their grandfather told him he would have to beat his grandkids before he would be willing to make him his student, which leads into a daily assassination attempt on Takaharu. Fortunately, it doesn't last too long, but it does get boring after a while. Kinji does manage to acquire his own upgrade form during the second half of the show.
Explosion.
Our heroes are also mentored by Takaharu and Fuka's father, Samuji. Toshihiro Yashiba plays this man who has lost his ninpu capabilities early on in life, which is why he believes his father looks down upon him as being worthless.
The reason I didn't teach you is because you have no shinobu potential. It's as simple.
He is naive, but
Oh my
good-hearted at the
God,
same
Frankie!
time as he will help his family out when necessary, despite not having any abilities.
We're the tornado. Oh, he failed.
Lastly, the show is full of actors we know and love, such as Ultraman Jeets Chihiro Yamamoto and
Ultraman?
Go-Busters Ryoma Baba.
生徒たちにまだ火炎の術を教えてないのか。次の授業ですぐ教えなさい。
でもこの子たちに火炎の術はまだ危険かと
そんな
思います。
恐れを教師が抱いていたらダメだろう。
Not to mention that we are treated to a few previous Rangers such as Ninja Red, Hurricane Red, Shuriken Sentai, and Maji Yellow. Of course, this also caused confusion with people as due to this, well, and Go-Kaiju. Some believe every Sentai series to take place in the same universe, even though they are each in their own universes. While you could argue for Maji Yellow being Yakumo's teacher, Hurricane Sentai most definitely does not, as the Shuriken Sentai found in the show is the one who died in Hurricane Sentai instead of the reborn kid from the 10 years later movie.
忍者の名誉を守る委員会からユウたちを鍛えるために冬季講習にやってきた。
And then there's also the fact that the Kaku Rangers had sealed the yokai away in their time, whereas the yokai in the Ninninger universe were beaten by Yoshitaka 400 years ago. Honestly though, it's best not to think about it, as these days Toei cares more about fan service than telling a competent tale.
But wait! That's not all! For your viewing pleasure, we are throwing in one more guest star!
Another guest star?
どころか暴れるぜ。
Rosebud. I think that's Citizen Kane. Let's not forget Dino Charge Blue.
Get away. Okay, thank you.
The villains.
The villain.
As I've already mentioned, our villains are yokai, which are led by an evil samurai clan known as the Kiba Oni Army Corps.
We have their leader, Gengetsu Kiba Oni, who doesn't actually physically show up until episode 45, so there's not much I can say about him.
Well, that's really just because there's nothing to talk about as far as characterization goes, not for spoiler reasons. He's just evil. Ooh.
He exists, and that is all there is to it. He makes Dakoku look deep. At least Dakoku being an alcoholic was a far greater character trait than what Gengetsu has. Gengetsu has nothing. He's just there because the heroes can't fight air.
Sounds pretty lame.
Trunks.
Next up is his wife,
pretty
Ariaki no
lame.
Kata. Her greatest triumph is being
That
voiced
mask
by
looks
Sailor
like an
Moon herself,
elephant.
Katano Mitsuishi.
こんな無礼な忍者どもに構ってる暇はない。子供の恐れをもっと集めてわらわに献上するの。
I mean, I guess she does have a pseudo-conflict with Kasumi. However, the extent of her character is that she lives and dies for Gengetsu. She does give birth to another soldier, Mangetsu, whose major character trait is kicking the crap out of his mother.
Kicking her. How could you kick your mother like that?
Such a great family of villains.
A family of villains?
The days of the Saima clan are long gone.
Next up is Kiba Oni's strategist, Masakage Sugimori. I do like Sugimori, though that is mostly because he is voiced by Frieza, Ryusei Nakao.
Frieza from Dragon Ball
これ
Z?
は序の口。これで奴らは油断したはずじゃ。我らをアジトに案内してくれる者は別によ。
Well, and he does do a hell of a lot more than everyone else and shows off his best Shang Tsung impersonation.
Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat?
It's too bad they kind of just make him a lesser version of one of Hurricane's villains, though. Lastly, there's the first general, Raizo Gabi. He takes up a rivalry with Takaharu because of course he does. Beyond that,
well, as I said, he's the first general.
He is voiced by Hibiki and Kiva's Kenji Matsuda.
Kenji Matsuda.
Shop Michaels for up to 70% off thousands of items. Score the
Michaels. I thought it was a Kohl's.
How are the numbers looking? We're landing at a strong 70. SPF.
Thankfully, there is one villain that has a purpose, and that is Izayoi Kiwiman. Kiwiman was a former student of Yoshitaka who turned to the dark side for some cookies. I mean, because he wanted the Shuriken for himself. Thus, he turned himself into a fox demon. He becomes a major pain in the ass for the Ninjers throughout the show, offering to help Kinji with his revenge problem, and is the one who makes the monsters grow big by utilizing a mallet and a forbidden shuriken. Some of you may recognize his voice actor as being Megumi Han, daughter to the legendary Keiko Han. Some of her roles include being the voice of Sayla in Gundam Origin, Tatami Nakagami in My Hero Academia, and Kagari Shina in Steins Gate Zero. So what about the yokai? How are they? Are they scary?
I always thought the yokai from supernatural horror anime were creepy.
Remember when the yokai in Kakuranger were terrifying and wanted to chop children's heads off and sell their meat to other yokai for food?
That's dark.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
that is dark.
Here we get this. And get used to seeing this cat a lot, because he appears in the show a lot.
That's right.
The cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. We thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away.
The yokai in this series are not even remotely scary, not remotely threatening, and come off like an utter joke at times. It doesn't help that they're pretty forgettable too, thanks to being just your normal, typical yokai, such as an umbrella, a kettle, a tengu, and this raccoon dog. There's even an arc where 3 Western yokai fly in from Europe.
Yes, and I mean fly in.
Oh, flights. Airports.
And the show makes it sound like these creatures are gonna be a big deal. Well, there's 3 Western yokai, so it adds up to 3 episodes.
Okay, technically 4, since there's a clip show after the 2nd episode, but really just 3.
I am so glad they did all this hoopla with this group coming in at Ariaki's request, which made it sound like it was going to lead to something grand, but nope, it doesn't.
Vampire Lord Dracula.
They are nothing more than generic monsters of the week. I mean, I guess you could say the werewolf did something extraordinary since he was the one that killed Kinji's dad and brother.
Jesse's anger tarnishes her beauty.
And there is something else that occurs with Kinji 10 episodes later. Still, for the most part, they are just as much of a waste as the rest of the villains in the show. The foot soldiers are just a bunch of blue armored looking samurai called Hito Karage. Kirimon does also acquire his own foot soldiers for a couple episodes, but they're hardly worth mentioning. Oh, and unlike Junior and Kaku Ranger, who is quite badass,
Kaku Ranger must be an old live-action Sentai show from the 1980s.
地獄へ行って仲間が来るのを待ってるのね。
Oh, he has a chainsaw!
Goodbye, Jiraiya.
the Gashadoko Hero relegated to merchandise managers
English.
whenever the show doesn't have a monster grow big for one reason or
One piece of
another.
English phrase.
召喚の術
Giant starving skeleton
It's
Gashadokuro.
so lame.
The Mecha.
The
I
mecha
will give this show some credit. It doesn't try to go too
from
overboard with
Japanese
its mecha.
anime.
The mecha is a bit odd though. Yoshitaka created them with the assistance of aliens using alien technology.
おじい様が宇宙人と交信したとおっしゃっていたのは
UFO
そういう
Maru.
ことだったのですね
The show never bothers to explore that aspect. This aspect isn't even brought up again at the halfway point when the Rangers have to create their own mecha.
魂が宿らないってことは何かが間違ってるんです。おじい様のやり方と。
I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
It could have added some nice mythology the show was severely lacking, especially considering the mecha was sentient to the point where it could even pout.
怖い。このまま忘れられていくのが怖い。そんなこととはひどい。
Not sure if I should be raging because of how freaking stupid that is, or praising for how cool it is for doing something original.
Alas, that would require 2010's Toei to put effort into their Sentai shows, so that is all I have to talk about on the matter. Our first set of mecha forms Shuriken, which is made up of a humanoid machine, a dog, a train, a dragon, and a dump truck.
Dump truck. And they're sort of like Voltron.
There's nothing too exciting when dealing with the mecha, but I do like how Takaharu's bot sits in the chest area as if the rest of the body were a suit a la Aliens. He can also interchange his positions with Yakumo's dragon.
Dragon.
They do acquire some auxiliary units, an elephant,
Aomaru.
a UFO,
A UFO. Or UFO
and a
Maru.
surfing bot.
Hold on a
The
minute.
surfing
A
bot?
surf ninja?
New Line Cinema presents an awesome, rippin', totally stoked
Get on with it.
new movie.
Get on with it.
Surf Ninjas.
What?
Wow.
Surf Ninjas? I never even seen that
I
movie.
never thought I would ever get to make a reference to surf ninjas.
A reference to the movie that I haven't
is
seen?
Cool. What next? 3 ninjas? Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
they are.
Anyway,
Disney already
this trio of
made
mecha is so
live
pointless that
action
even the show
already
forgot
made
they
3
existed
ninjas.
for half of its episode count.
I know I did until they appeared in like episode 42, 41. Whichever one it was like, oh yeah, there's auxiliary mecha in this show. Cool.
Kinji's mecha includes another humanoid bot named Rodeo Maru and a bison-shaped motorcycle.
Maru.
Big Wheel by Marx.
Big Wheel by Marx.
Together they form Bison King, which is of course a cowboy-looking thing.
Cowboy.
He too can combine with Shuriken to form an even stronger combo, but that's not all. They can even create an even bigger, better overkilling machine by attaching it to a lion mech known as Lion Ha-Oh.
Lion Ha-Oh.
The cool thing about Lion Ha-Oh is that we actually get to see his spirit take on the form of a human, and he is played by one of the franchise's veteran singers, Yukio Yamagata.
俺の名は奇襲天空のお供人と呼ばれるライオンハオの精霊だ
Yamagata has sung many songs of the show, including the opening theme to Gao Ranger, the Time Shadow song in Time Ranger, Akiba Ranger's opening theme, and many others. Naturally, he
sings
also
opening
sings his
themes?
own theme song for this
I didn't
show.
know that.